Yo, it's JP. So I'm going to talk today about my firm's experience with Wells Fargo. Okay? I'm going to talk about race, racism, America, business, civil rights law, all through the microcosm of this specific situation. Okay? I'm JP, Jonathan Pollard. I'm an attorney. I'm licensed to practice law in the state of Florida and a variety of federal and appellate courts throughout the United States. I am the owner and principal of a law firm with offices in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and St. Louis. Our main office is on Las Olas Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. Our main office has been in Fort Lauderdale for 12 plus years. And for the entirety of those 12 plus years, we have banked with Wells Fargo. Hi, Wells Fargo. In fact, before I started the firm, I banked with Wells Fargo in my personal capacity. And before I banked with Wells Fargo in my personal capacity, I banked with Wachovia, which was then acquired by Wells Fargo. Okay? So, as I own the firm, we are a black-owned law firm, and it's so funny when woke black people or woke white people, it's even worse when woke white people do it, where they try to tell me some shit, and I'm like, don't you realize I'm black too? Come the fuck on, right? But so a colleague of mine, who is also a dear friend of mine, wonderful lady, wonderful human being, dear friend of mine, so polite, so gracious, so professional, okay? So she goes into Wells Fargo on Las Olas Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale to deposit a check. The check is for almost $200,000. The check is written by a large corporation and drawn off of a major financial institution. It was actually drawn off of a Bank of America bank account. So keep this in mind. We're a business. We're a law firm. We've banked there for over a decade. Yeah, sure, we have ups and downs. We have money come in, we have money go out, we have money come in, we have money go out, but that's business, okay? This is small business in America. And a lot of people don't quite understand that, right? Like, yes, I'm a lawyer, but I'm also a business person and I own a business. The business just happens to be a law firm. And so for 10 plus years, bank with Wells Fargo, deposit checks, deposit money, spend money, deposit money, spend money. So my colleague goes into Wells Fargo one day to deposit this rather, substantial check for nearly $200,000. She's a black woman. She's well-dressed, she's professional, she's polite, she's gracious, she's articulate. She fills out a deposit slip. Deposit this check, please. And then they call a manager over. We need a second set of eyes. Call a manager over, look at this check. And they turn her away. And they tell her they can't deposit this check because it's suspicious. Really? At this exact same moment, there was a white gentleman from out of town, and in fact from out of state, because he pulled out an out-of-state driver's license, and he was depositing several large checks into a business account. Take one wild guess what the difference was between the homie who was allowed to deposit several rather large checks, not a regular at that branch. The people at the branch didn't know him from Adam, but he was allowed to deposit several large checks without a problem. It wasn't suspicious. Take a wild guess what the difference was between that hombre and my colleague. Wild guess, right? It's fucking America, people. Take a guess. She's black. So I called Wells Fargo. I called them on the phone. I complained. I said, well, this is not right. And they said, well, it's up to the bank's discretion, and there could have been some concerns, this, that, or the other. Bullshit. Because my colleague took that check, went to a different Wells Fargo branch, this time a Wells Fargo branch in a black neighborhood with predominantly black folks working at the bank. And they gladly deposited the check, and the check cleared, and there were no problems with it. Now, not to get into the technicalities of this, but for white people in America who are like, well, there's no racism out there. We had a black president. My God, just let all this stuff go. The ordinary protocol here would be if you have concerns about a check, you receive the check, you deposit the check, but you put a hold on it. And then it clears, and then everything is fine. But the Las Olas branch of Wells Fargo refused to do that. They turned my colleague away, a black woman, a beautiful, kind, friendly, gracious, all-embracing, diplomatic, loves everybody, total professional, one of my favorite people in the world. They turned her away because they were suspicious of a near $200,000 check written by a big company off of a Bank of America corporate bank account. And the check was then subsequently accepted and deposited by another Wells Fargo branch in a black neighborhood where that branch was primarily staffed by black people, okay? Now, a couple things, okay? Number one, a lot of people say to me, they say, well, JP, at this point, that's your fault, That's your fault. You know who they are. Wells Fargo. Everybody knows Wells Fargo is racist as shit. Everybody knows about their discriminatory lending practices, mortgage discrimination, everything. Everybody knows Wells Fargo is racist. And so folks say to me, they say, well, JP, you shouldn't be banking there, and you should already have moved your bank accounts. And definitely after that, why didn't you move your bank accounts? Well, I'll tell you why I didn't move my bank accounts, okay? Because I have all of my accounts with Wells Fargo, all right? I got all my accounts with Wells Fargo. All my business accounts, my personal accounts are at Wells Fargo. I've got a wire device. I got an RSA wire device where I can send wire transfers from my laptop. I can send like $300,000 in wire transfers in a month from my laptop. I don't have to go to a branch or anything. I just pull up my laptop, I log in, I can send wires. I have all these different recipients and folks who I have to send regular wires to for different business purposes and vendors and expenses. I got them already set up in there in my online banking. And I know all of my bank account numbers, the routing number, the account number. I know all that stuff by heart, okay? And so it would be a pain in my ass to have to move my bank accounts from Wells Fargo to another bank. So I know I already should have moved my bank accounts. I know that I should not. There is no reason on God's green earth why me or any business I own should bank with a racist institution like Wells Fargo. A notoriously dirty, corrupt, unethical, racist, and everything else. And it's not just racism at Wells Fargo. It's everything. Like, Wells Fargo is the kingpin of corporate corruption in America. And I should not bank with Wells Fargo. I get it. But I started banking with Wells Fargo because I started banking with Wachovia. And then they became Wells Fargo. And I'd gotten out of law school and I had my account there, and I had an account there for a long time, and I started my own law practice. And so I needed a business account, a trust account, and I set all that stuff up, and it was there. And I know I should have moved my bank account from Wells Fargo a long time ago, but damn it, I don't feel like I should have to take on that inconvenience. Okay? I get it. I'm not trying. I get it. I don't want to give these people money. I don't want to pay these people fees for the trash way they treat me and my colleagues. But damn it, it would be a huge inconvenience for me to move my bank accounts. And is it so hard to understand that my position on this is not, well, I'll just move my bank account, but my position on this is, damn it, Wells Fargo, I don't want to move my bank accounts. I don't want to move my company's bank accounts. I don't want to move my trust account. I just want you to start doing your damn job. Is that so unreasonable? Does that make me a crazy person? To say, I should move my bank accounts. I could move my bank accounts. That would be the reasonable thing to do. But doggone it, I would strongly prefer if I could just keep my bank accounts where they are and just have Wells Fargo not be a bunch of racists. Because if there was actually a technical problem, if there was actually a legitimate reason for not depositing the check, then that technical and legitimate reason for not depositing a nearly $200,000 check written out to me and my firm, what stands to reason that technical and legitimate reason would have applied across the board. It stands to reason that if there was a technical, legitimate, valid reason for them not depositing the check and turning us away from the Las Olas Boulevard branch, if that was a valid, legitimate reason, well, then that should have been the reason at another Wells Fargo branch up the street in the black neighborhood. So what are we saying here, folks? What are we saying, Wells Fargo? Am I permitted to bank with Wells Fargo? My colleagues and I, we are permitted, because we do have some black folks in the firm, myself included. Just be real with me. Just rap with me on this, right? Because I filed a complaint. I made a complaint, rather, via telephone with Wells Fargo, and I got a call back from somebody, some sort of investigator person, and she was very nice, but true to form, she was full of shit because she said she was going to look into it and get back to me in a week or two. It's been 8 months. It's been 8 months. And so the other day, we got a, reasonably sized check. We got a check from one of our cases at almost $100,000. Our money, it's our fees off of a case. And I'm on the phone with my colleague, Gerline. And we're literally on the phone. It's 2024 in America. And I'm on the phone with my colleague saying, so where are you going to deposit that check? Because, you can't be taking it over to Wells Fargo on Las Olas Boulevard. Being black and all. Really? Really? 2024, and we literally have to go deposit a check written by a big company off of a big bank. We have to go deposit that check at the Wells Fargo in the black neighborhood. Because we're still second-class citizens. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? I went to Cornell. I graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Cornell. I went to law school at Georgetown. I was an editor of the Law Review. I worked at a big law firm. I literally own a law firm. You go find somebody, find me somebody whose law firm, whose small 4-lawyer shop is ranked in super lawyers and by Chambers and Partners out of the UK. You're going to look for a while. But I can't deposit, my colleague can't deposit a damn check at the Wells Fargo branch on Las Olas. And I know I should have picked up and left. I know I should have moved my bank account. I know I should have gone to another bank. But the reality of the situation in America and myself is that, damn it, I don't want to. Okay? I don't want to. What do I want? I want Wells Fargo on Las Olas Boulevard to stop being a bunch of racist assholes and start doing their job and let black people come in there and bank at the Las Olas Boulevard branch of Wells Fargo just the same as they let white folks bank at that branch of Wells Fargo. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask? I know I could move my bank accounts. I know, but it would be a pain in my ass. And here's what I want. And I'm an unmitigated crazy person. I'm a bald-headed jerk-faced meanie. What do I want? I just want to be able to bank at the Wells Fargo branch on Las Olas Boulevard and have my colleagues and I be treated the same way as white folks who bank there. Wells Fargo, y'all got my number. You can call me. I'd really love to talk with somebody about this, okay? I've been patient. I've been waiting since April. It's December. I gave you 8 months to look into this. Y'all call me. I'd love to hear about this. I'd love to talk with somebody about this. Be easy.